This video was brought to you by Squarespace. Also, review copy provided by Nintendo, which was not something I expected, but I mean, I'll take it. Thank you. In the future. What is up, my friends? I'm here with a casual review of Super Mario Party Jamboree. Casual review being the term I use when I don't have time to do like a big, super deep dive on a game, big whole scripted review and all that stuff, and instead I just casually talk about my feelings. So let's talk about my feelings. Let's go. I'm gonna start things off by talking about the thing I love most about Mario Party Jamboree. Besides Bowser Kaboom Squad. That's spoiler alert, that's actually my favorite thing. But besides that, I love how the characters treat this whole experience. I think every Mario Party game, to a degree, does what I'm talking about here, but I feel like this one in particular leans really hard into the idea that a Mario Party is a real thing within the Mario universe. You know, this is not an abstract concept. This is not just a video game where you take all of these characters and ideas and stick them together and it's just the player just kind of playing around with them. Like, no. In universe, a Mario Party is an event. It takes place in a real place. It's run by a bunch of staff working behind the scenes, and this is highlighted most by the little party planner side mode. And this was not even a mode that I was really that aware of going into the game, so it was a really pleasant surprise. I know every once in a while we'll get a Mario Party game that kind of toys with the idea of something like a campaign, but to me, this right here, this, at least out of the ones that I know, this has got to be the most clever. The mode takes all of the, main Mario Party maps and turns each one into its own little, self-contained adventure. The idea is that this is all of the staff behind the scenes setting up for the party mode. You've got people, they're building things, they're fixing up all the little paths, they're fixing the zip lines, they're placing items. There's characters all over the place. You can travel across the board freely, and it's just like these little mini quests. You find items, missing items to return to people. You do mini games, so it kind of acts as like a little bit of a tutorial as well. Someone may make you do a quiz. There's plenty of just random little events to do. And kind of like in the main party mode, you collect little friends and then you can use those friends at the end. Because you collect mini stars through all this stuff, and then when you get enough mini stars, it opens up a boss, like a genuine boss. It's a Mario Party mini game, but it kind of takes the form of a boss. And I did not expect that at all. Just absolutely at all. Really nice surprise. And whatever friends you collected during this little thing, they get to help you fight the boss. It's just, I don't know, the whole thing is really cool. It's nothing super fancy. Like I said, it really kind of is more of a tutorial than anything. But I think it's a really good example of, one, taking ideas and assets from a game and using them to create a new mode and new content in a really clever, very economical kind of way. But then it also just helps add to this whole feel that I'm talking about. This feel that this party is a real thing, and that feeling kind of carries over into the main mode. You do all this little prep stuff, and then you're doing the actual party, and you're like, yeah, I helped set up this board, it's just, I don't know. It's really silly, but I just think it's so effective. And the whole game is kind of like this. It really establishes this as a real consistent place. There's no random menus. Everything takes place in a place run by a person. It is an objective fact that this video was brought to you by Squarespace. If you need a website and have no idea how to build one, Squarespace is there for you. My site, Arlo Recommends, is a blog, and with the intuitive all-in-one builder, I can format text, add pictures, embed videos and social media posts, move everything around however I want. There are loads of features that make managing things super easy, like scheduling posts and having them automatically pushed to social media. I could even use my site to host video content if I wanted to. If you need need more, Squarespace offers lots of powerful extensions, features for selling stuff both physically and digitally, advanced SEO tools to help your website reach its audience, and analytics to help you track how everything is working. To try out Squarespace for yourself, head to squarespace.com for a free trial. Then when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/Arlo to save 10% off your first website or domain. And now for today's recommendation, The Phantom Toll Booth. I haven't read the book, but the movie is fun. The timeless art of Chuck Jones, combined with an abundance of clever ideas and wordplay, makes for a fantastically surreal adventure in one of my favorite genres, weird old animated movies. Thanks again to Squarespace. It is my humble opinion that you may continue the video. You know, you've got your main plaza where you've got like various options in the store and all that stuff, and then you take a balloon up into the air to like use binoculars to look around at the different islands, and all of the different islands are all the different modes. It's just super clever, and I think it's really cute. And I'll talk about the individual modes in just a minute, but just to play on this this whole consistent world idea, one of the motion control mini games is Toad's Item Factory, and this mini game, it could have just been a mini game, but they're like, no, this is how items are made. This is how the Toads are creating items for the main party mode. I just think it's cool. There's just so much character everywhere. There's all these little details, even like when you're up in the balloon and you'll like, just as you pan around, you'll like see just little stuff off in the distance, and you can kind of zoom in on them and take a picture. So you're like kind of slowly taking pictures as you go, and that's like how you unlock some of the other characters. It's cool. And we might as well talk about the presentation. It looks really good. Game looks great. I mean, all the Mario Party games look great. It's very, very clean, extremely clean, and it's also like a little bit plain, you know, maybe a little bit on the plain side, like versus, you know, Mario Odyssey or whatever, but it kind of works for Mario Party. The plainness kind of lets them put more juice into the performance, just the raw performance, which makes everything really just nice and smooth and colorful. It looks good. And then of course the mini games, they always look so incredible. All these like really weirdly realistic textures and things, especially whenever there's like food involved. Art direction is all good. Yeah, really can't complain about the way any of it looks. It's all very colorful. It really pops, and music is good. Music is fine. I don't usually have a lot to say about the music in these games, but so far there's a lot of fun tracks in there. Sure. Okay, so modes. Unfortunately, I've really not had a lot of chances to play with actual people in the same room. I've mostly played online, but on that note, online works pretty darn well. I'm actually really thankful to have the option, and I'm thankful that it's working, because it means that I can drop into these various modes and actually play with other people without having to get a bunch of people together, so that's cool. But yeah, for the most part, it works. I haven't had any just random disconnects, and that's, I don't know, that's really saying something. I was pretty skeptical going into, especially like the main party mode. I didn't expect great things, and yet it worked. Yeah, I just didn't even know if I could get other players to like stick around for the 2 hours it takes, but like they did. There were no disconnects. There was no major lag or anything. The very worst that you get is just like within the mini games, there will sometimes be a bit of like input delay. Every once in a while it gets, yeah, kind of major. But the thing about these games is that they're so simple, and you play them so briefly that it's not usually a big problem. Maybe like a couple times I was like, all right, the fact that it didn't register my jump early enough is why I died or whatever. But like, just for the most part, it works. It works fine. You can kind of just compensate for the input delay. And then with the co-op games in particular, it's very forgiving. Like, it's extremely forgiving. Anything where you're all working together, it frequently just kind of gives it to you. There's a lot of wiggle room because it knows that all these different connections is going to be a problem. So yeah, for the most part, a pretty smooth online experience, and that's a real pleasant surprise. So yeah, the main Mario Party mode, I don't know, what is there to say? It's Mario Party. It's good, you know. It's fun. I guess technically the real new gimmick for this game is like the little partner thing where you can get different characters and they help you out. I've not really had much chances to interact with this feature at all. The characters will drop on the board and just be there for like 3 turns and then leave. So like we don't even usually touch them. So ultimately, at least in my experience, it's not really come up much. It seems like it probably would be pretty cool if I was able to get to them in time, but I don't know. The Koopathlon was something I was excited to try out. And you know what? It's pretty cool. I think if there is a main problem with the Koopathlon, it's just that like it pulls from a relatively small pool of minigames. And because of the nature of this thing, you know, you go around laps like multiple times. And so you end up playing these games again and again, and they'll like ramp up in difficulty. But I just get a little tired of them, you know, especially if there's like 1 or 2 that I'm in the rotation that I'm just not really good at or I'm not really a fan of, but I gotta play it like over and over again. It's not the best. But overall, I think the Koopathlon is a really cool idea. I was like, how are you gonna get 20 people to like all stay together during this thing for long enough? But the answer is the games are actually quite short. I think it's cool. Like your place in the race changes live as you're playing the games. So like you're playing the games and you're collecting coins, and you know, it's usually just like you doing your own version of the mini game. You're not, you know, every once in a while Bowser will pop up and you'll have to do a mini game with all these other people. But all the rest of the time, it's really just you and they're all doing their own things. So in that case, you don't have connection issues because you're not like playing live with other people. It's just tracking how many coins you have, and that is in real time pushing people along the track. So it gets like really intense when you're like playing a mini game and you can see that like you're near the finish line and you're literally like the performance in this mini game is determining who wins and when. And it's just a really cool idea. I think it's a really fun thing. I do wish there was a little bit more variety in the mini games. I guess it's inevitable with a game like Mario Party, where it's like, oh, there's 100 and whatever mini games, but they're split up because over here's the motion control ones, and over here's the free-for-alls, and here's the 2-on-2s, and so the ones that they have dedicated to this Koopathlon mode, not really a whole lot at the end of the day. But it is fun. It's a really fun and frantic mode to just kind of drop in on and play a little bit and be done with it. It is rather thrilling versus, you know, parties, which are long, which are very, very long. So then we'll talk about the motion controlled games. They're pretty good. I'm definitely like, I don't know, even when the Switch first came around, it was kind of like, you guys are still doing this motion control stuff. And so like every time we get a game, I don't know, it's like they just can't let the idea go. They really they like this whole motion control thing, especially with Mario Party. And in this case, it's okay. Paratrooper Flight School, it's fine. It's not really that fun to like hold your arms out and flap them to fly around. It's not, I don't know. It ain't the Wii anymore. I'm just kind of done doing that. I don't get that like rush, like, oh, it's so immersive. I feel like I'm really flying. I just don't anymore. It feels kind of awkward to control flying around. So I don't know, playing Taxi might be kind of fun with a friend. If there's anything about Paratrooper Flight School that's cool, it's the competitive mode where you're like just flying around. There's just so many of those like para biddy buddies or whatever they're called. There's just so many of them, and you try to collect them and you can steal them from the other person. And so it's kind of cool. If I was gonna play any part of Paratrooper Flight School, it would be that one. There's something there. There's a novelty to flying around in this big place and gathering up all these things. It's okay. Rhythm Kitchen, it's just kind of a collection of really basic mini games, very similar to ones we've had a bunch of other times. The best part is just looking at the food, but beyond that, it's just kind of whatever. Toad's Item Factory is by far the best out of these three. You know, it's got like a pretty good chunk of levels to get through. It uses some pretty clever ideas. At the beginning, I was kind of like lamenting that it was motion controlled. I wish I could just use like sticks and buttons or whatever. But then it really starts to prove itself. Like the further you go, the better case that it makes for this whole thing being motion controlled, you know? It introduces like new ideas all the time, and then it starts like combining the ideas. So with the same controller, you're tilting it one way to raise a platform up and down, but then you're also twisting it to turn a thing. And it's a cool idea. I haven't played it with multiple people. I bet it would probably be pretty fun. working with a whole bunch of people. But when you're alone, you can just control like half of the stuff on the screen with one controller and the other half with the other. And I like that kind of thing. It's a fun little brain twisty kind of deal. It's cute. I think it's pretty okay. It is a little bit unfortunate that so much content in the game is locked behind the motion controlled stuff, just because, yeah, like if you're not a fan of motion controls, then it's quite a bit of it is here, but that's all right. There's plenty of other stuff. Other modes, you got Minigame Bay. It's just kind of the quick play option, which I think is cool. You just drop in, do a handful of minigames, and then that's it. It's fine. So then, best for last, Bowser Kaboom Squad. This was the thing I was looking the most forward to going into the game. Looking the most forward to, whatever. I was really looking forward to it. I love cooperative modes, and everything as fun as I was hoping it would be. Honestly, I really, really love this mode. You're working with 7 other people. There's no competition here. If there is any competition, it's just the fact that at the end, the results screen, it'll say like who did the, who got the most coins, who delivered the most bombs and all that stuff. And that's not even real competition because that just encourages you to work harder. So yeah, for the most part, you're all working together. You're running around, breaking boxes, picking up bombs, delivering them to the cannon. And there's not like so much strategy involved that the stakes are super high. And if you're not like really on it, you're gonna mess things up for your team. It's really not that kind of thing. But there's just enough little bits of strategy that you kind of pick up on as you go. People naturally fall into roles just kind of as things happen. If you notice that Bowser is focused on you and there's a crate over there, you can kind of be the one to help distract him for a while everyone else works on a crate delivering bombs or whatever. In between each round, you all do a mini game together, and then the better you do on the mini game, the more items you all get to choose from. And you can choose whatever item you want, and it even shows what other people are choosing, so then you can kind of base what you get on that. So you want a good spread of items, and you're figuring out what items are best. Some items you can lay down boost pads and banana peels and stuff. Boost pads are the best, by the way. People stop, banana peels if you want, but like, come on, boost pads. It's just the best option in most cases. Anyway. So yeah, you just want to pick up enough bombs to blast Bowser and take his health all the way down. And then when you get 100 coins, then you enter this like gold bomb rush thing where you do extra damage. So then like when you get coins and when you cross over that 100 coin threshold, that's part of the strategy too. There's all these little things to consider. It's really fun. I really like it. As with many Nintendo multiplayer things, I finally find a thing that I like and I'm like, boy, I want more. I want this to be its own whole game. I want there to be like a bigger ranking system or something. But for the most part, it's just kind of a thing you drop in and play. And there's like a few maps to play with, and it's fun enough to just play and get your level up. You just have like you go from like rookie up to master or whatever. It's fine. I guess I'm thankful that there's some sort of progression system at least. Biggest problem I have is you can only have one person playing Bowser Kaboom Squad per system at any given time. You cannot get 2 people on one Switch to play co-op, in person or online. Only one person. Really disappointing. I was really, really looking forward to playing this with my nephew, and now we can't, and I am sad because he uses my Switch, and even if we had another Switch, we'd have to buy another copy of the game, so that's a bit of a bummer. But yeah, overall, I really, really love the game. If anything gets me coming back to Mario Party Jamboree in the future, even when like we've all played enough parties and we're all kind of done with it, if anything gets me back, it's gonna be Bowser Kaboom Squad. I just find it terrifically fun. Overall, I think Super Mario Party Jamboree is really good, As always, I'll remind you, I'm not like the biggest Mario Party fan. I don't have all these opinions about which ones are the best. But to me, it feels like this is easily the best Switch Mario Party yet. It's just got so many different modes, lots of content. It would feel like a little bit more content if so much of it wasn't locked behind the motion controls, but even not counting that, there's still plenty of stuff to do. The maps are good. Bowser's Kaboom Squad is great. Mini games are really great. I have no complaints about the mini games. There's loads of great ones. They're super clever and all that stuff. They brought back domination. So there you go. So those are my deepest, most personal feelings about Super Mario Party Jamboree. Thank you for watching. Obligatory outro done. End the video. Cut it off.